What's up, idols? It's CC Listen Through. Welcome back to my channel. Forgive my appearance. I'm not feeling that great. It's cold outside. It's condition day, so excuse all of this. For today's story time, what happens when you move countries for your teaching experience to add to your resume, but you end up falling in love abroad? This story time is going to get right into that. Before we dive in, please watch this video until the end. Leave a like if you've ever been in love. Use the like button as a love button. And leave a comment, any comment, such as for the algo, for the watch, for the engagement.
For the watch.
Also, if you enjoy this story time, please binge the other story times on my channel. They're all put together in neat little playlists. Also, if you have a story you'd like to share, please email me at cclisten3@yahoo.com. Some of these I'm just now getting to because these emails have been going to my spam folder and I don't know why. I just went through last night and I found hella stories in my spam, so I gotta catch up. So pop your popcorn, sit back and relax, and enjoy this beautiful yet unlikely love story in Korea. So today's star asked to be called Belle. We used her before, but we can use her again. Now, Belle was only supposed to be teaching English in Korea for a year. She was in China the year before, she was in Korea this year, she planned to go to Thailand the following year. All together this experience because ultimately her goal, her dream, her desire was to be a teacher in the US. Only a year. Because she had no plan or desire to stay in Korea long term, she didn't bother with the dating apps, the Tinders, the Meefs, the Hinges, the Bumbles, nothing, none of that. But when people are meant to meet, they're just meant to meet. The universe finds a way. One day, her school was having their sports day. For those who don't know, sports day is like, it's a fun day where, you know, the students and the staff, you pretty much, you're outside playing games and sports and stuff. There's food, the parents come, family friends come, and it's like a day of watching the kids compete against each other. It's actually really nice. It's so adorable. And because this is Belle's first ever sports day, there's a lot of parents and people coming up to introduce themselves to her, thanking her for her effort and her time teaching their kids and welcoming her to the school and the community. Most of the parents came up to her like, "Hi, I'm Isuji's mom. Thank you. Nice to meet you," things like that. But there was a couple, a mom and a dad, assumed parents came up with a third guy who was kind of just with them. So the parents were trying to communicate with Belle, and you could tell that English wasn't really their thing. Again, she's only planning to be in Korea for a year, so she didn't really bother to pick up too much Korean. So when things were getting awkward and lost in translation, this mystery fellow that came up with them, he stepped in and started to translate. And we're gonna call this translator Minjun. Now it's assumed that he was like a family friend or something because I don't really get too much info on how he knew the parents, but he was there, no kids or anything like that. So the parents were trying to tell Belle, "Thank you so much for coming to this country and teaching our kids English. It's such an important skill and you're so beautiful." They were trying to tell her that, and Minjun helped convey that message to her. So then Belle's like, "Oh, no problem, you know, your kids are so sweet, they're so lovely," and like, "Wow, Minjun, your English is really, really good." Even the parents he walked over there with were like, "Yeah, bro, like, how'd you get so good at English?" And he reminded them like, "Yeah, you know, I used to study abroad. Don't forget, my family, we do English really well." So then Minjun saw this as this little opportunity to be like, "Yeah, Belle, like, can I talk with you and practice my conversational English a bit more?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm a teacher, I don't mind, we can do that." So they walk around the field, kind of, you know, watching the kids play their sports, getting snacks every now and then, there's some cotton candy, you know, there's fun, festive, outdoorsy environment. So after having such a light-hearted, pleasant conversation with Minjun, he finally asked her if she would like to meet up for a casual cup of coffee.
Baby, baby, 그대는 카라멜 마키아토.
I was like, "Sure, you probably want to practice your English a bit more, am I right?" She was completely oblivious to the fact that Minjun wanted to get to know her and he liked her. So Belle described Minjun as, you know, pretty handsome. She said he had like a little bit of a stubble, he had like slick back, thick, dark hair, and he was dressed like a dad because he had slacks with a polo tucked into his high-waisted pants and some loafers on.
오빤 딱 내 스타일.
So anyway, they finalized their coffee plans, and instead of exchanging numbers, he asked for her email. So she's like, "Yeah, cool, you know, I'll email you back and we can pick a time and a place and I'll see you soon for coffee." So then she heads back to her classroom, not really thinking a whole lot of it. Found someone who wants to practice English. That's a new friend, someone else to know in this town. Like, that's great. And while she's walking back to her classroom, one of the teachers came up and said, "Who's that handsome guy you were talking to?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know, but his name was Minjun and she wants to meet up over coffee and practice his English a bit more." And the teacher's hyping him up. She's like, "Ooh, this handsome guy wants to meet you off campus. Ooh, that's so exciting." And as she explained, Belle's like, "Does he like me?" And like, even though she's only set to be in Korea for a year, the thought of romance was kind of exciting for her. And admittedly so, she kind of started to think and overanalyze everything they said to each other. She couldn't wait to see him again, but she also didn't know what to expect. So at the end of the day, he emailed her. And in that email, he included his phone number and said like, "This is when I'm free. We could meet up for some coffee like Saturday around lunch." And then Belle had joked about not wanting to wait until the weekend to meet him because this day was midweek, like Wednesday. And she's like, "I kind of want to see him like sooner." And she told him that. And he said, oh, well, you know, maybe I can meet you for dinner tomorrow instead of waiting for lunchtime on Saturday. Then she's like, no, I was only joking. Like, we can totally do Saturday. That's completely fine. He said, well, no, to be honest, I kind of don't want to wait till the weekend to see you either. Like, are you free for dinner tomorrow night? Man's got freeze. So they agreed to meet each other sooner, and they're gonna have dinner the next night. And in the email, they exchanged phone numbers. It's also worth noting that Belle lives in a more rural part of Korea. She doesn't live in Seoul. And because of that, it's in the evening. He said the buses might be a bit slower and asked if she would like him to pay for her taxi to the restaurant. She's like, oh no, like that's so sweet, but don't worry about it. He's like, no, seriously, I insist. I'm the one who asked you out. I would offer to pick you up, but I don't think you'd be comfortable with getting in the car of a man you just met, so I'll pay for your taxi. And you know, she's like, thank you, that's so sweet, that's very considerate of you. So they have their plans to meet up the following night. The whole day she's at work just like, oh, what do I wear tonight? What's he gonna wear? Like, are we friends? Does he like me? He was cute. Just everything all at once. So the taxi comes, and as soon as she gets to the restaurant, she sees him sitting down and he's dressed up. Like, he looks chef's kiss good. That gave her the feels that, who dresses up like this when they're just trying to meet a friend or practice their English? Maybe he is more interested in me. It's like, now it feels like a date night. And when she gets in, he stands up and shakes her hand, of all things, you know, the 반갑습니다. And he also pulls her chair out so she can sit down. And he thanked her for making time to meet up with him again so soon, and asked how the taxi ride was, and asked what she likes to eat, hopes this restaurant's okay. And she's like, no, thank you. Outside of teaching, I really don't get out that much. I don't really know too many people here yet. It's kind of a small town, so it's hard to meet people. I don't speak Korean. A lot of people here don't speak English. So thank you for making the time to hang out with me too. And while she's talking about this, she noticed that he was just kind of staring at her and smiling. So she's like, is something wrong? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, you just look so beautiful tonight.
Oh shit, here we go again.
I see what you're doing here. And then she said as the night went on and as the conversation got deeper, she could tell he definitely wasn't just looking for someone to help him practice English. The questions he asked, it was about her past relationships, future goals, future living, like where do you see yourself in 10 years? What was your best relationship like? What was your worst relationship like? What do you look for in a partner? Things like that. So it implies a bit more than friendship, if you know what I mean. So they wrapped up dinner, and Minjun, being the gentleman that he is, he paid. And almost as suddenly as, you know, they were about to just part ways, he just asked if he could kiss her. And Belle had to be completely honest, she wasn't totally comfortable with that yet, and it must have been like clear in her face, because he said, oh, I'm so sorry, forget that, never mind, I don't know, I didn't mean to say that out loud, it's just my thoughts got out, I'm so sorry. So instead he reached for a very polite handshake again, and he walked her out of the restaurant. He offered to get her another taxi, but she's like, no, like, you paid for my taxi here, you paid for dinner, I can get myself home, don't worry about it. So then he said, okay, you know, if you insist, that's fine, just text me, let me know when you're home so I know that you made it safe. After she got home and she's in the middle of typing, hey, I made it safe, she got a text from him back. He said that he had such a great time with her, and he hoped he didn't ruin anything by being so forward with, you know, the kiss, and he said he would absolutely love to take her out again. And then she replied like, oh my god, that's crazy, I was literally just about to text you too, I was gonna let you know I made it home safe, and yeah, no problem, I would love to hang out with you again soon, just, you know, let's take things slow.
For me, baby, go slow. Slow it down.
He replies saying, absolutely, I respect that, I understand that, we can do that. Slow is my middle name. 천천히. But bro, they did indeed take things pretty slow at first, because it wasn't until like their 5th or 6th date that they had their first kiss. She said they were just walking around holding hands one day, and it just came out where he said, I can't hold myself back anymore, can I kiss you? So she didn't even say anything, she just looked at him and nodded and smiled, and he kissed her. So cute. Thing is, right after they had their first kiss, that's when Minjun asked her to be his girlfriend. What happened to slow, my guy?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
So then Minju said that he really likes her and he doesn't want her to look at anyone else, and the best way he can ensure that that happens is for her to be his girlfriend and for him to be her boyfriend. Let me know in the comments, is that creepy or cute? But anyway, for whatever reason, Belle agreed, and she said, okay, I will be your girlfriend and you could be my boyfriend. So bam, now they're officially dating. But she also wanted to remind him that she was only gonna be in Korea for like 8 more months, and you know, once she leaves and heads for Thailand, who knows what's gonna happen then.
You just died.
So then he said, then we'll have to cherish the time you're here together. That's so beautiful. That is one thing that she said should have kind of given away his intentions, because even though he was well aware that she was only going to be there for like a year total, he talked a lot about their future. Again, he asked where she wanted to live, where she saw herself, if she wanted kids, how many kids did she want, would she like to get married one day. She didn't put a whole lot of thought in it, but boy, did Minjun have something planned. Fast forward another couple of months into the relationship, and one day, Minjun says, Belle, I want you to meet my family.
Hold up. Hey.
I was like, huh? She's like, why do you want me to meet them so suddenly? And that's when he replied by saying, I want them to meet the girl who lives in my brain. And because she's not the Grinch, she's not evil, like, how do you say no to that? She's like, okay, sure, like, I will meet your family. So he said that they would host her at his family home, and not to worry because it's not too many people. It's his mom, his dad, he's an only child, and he has an aunt on his mom's side and an aunt on his dad's side. So it's not like a huge major gathering, just the close ones. He has a pretty small family. So as she's getting ready for them to host her, she's like, you know, I can't show up empty-handed. So she texts Minjun like, hey, what can I get them? Like, what's an appropriate gift? He's like, you don't have to get anything. She's like, well, of course I don't have to, but I want to leave a good impression. Like, what's something they could use around the house? What's something that they could like? Can you help me pick something out? So he says, okay, you know, I could come over and we could go shopping together and we can pick out something for my family together. She says she also kind of needed his help for translation and like the prices and what is this? I don't know what that means. So after they both get off of work, they met up and went to a market and they're window shopping, perusing, browsing, and she finds a tea set and she's like, does your family like tea? He's like, well, my mom loves tea. You can't go wrong with tea. So as she's paying for it, he offered to help her wrap them and she's like, oh, I was just gonna hand the bag to them. If he's offering to wrap it, then I guess it's like customary. So yeah, you can wrap this for me because I don't know how to do that. So they head back to her place so he could do the wrapping for her. Now this isn't the first time that he's been to her apartment. Like they've hung out at her apartment plenty of times, normal, just watch TV, have dinner, sleep over, things like that. And they haven't done anything yet so far. And this was meant to be just another typical visit. So once they get to Belle's apartment and you know, they're looking at the gift and she's like, yeah, I hope they like it. Oh, should I go back and get something else? He's like, relax, like don't overthink it. They're not even expecting you to bring anything. They just want you to bring yourself and your appetite. Whatever you get, they will love. So she's just like, you know, it just really means a lot to me that you want me to meet your family. I don't want them to think poorly of me, especially since I'm a foreigner. And he's like, oh, like seriously, don't worry about that. They know you're a foreigner. They're not that type. We've always been very welcoming, yada, yada, yada. He said they're just excited to meet the girl who makes me smile. They don't care about where you come from, which I wish the world was always that simple, right? And Belle says she doesn't know what happened next, but before she knew it, he was pulling her on top of him and bada bing, bada boom.
I just had sex, and it felt so good.
This was their first time doing the Devil's Tango. It was in this moment when she realized how much she truly liked him and she's like, oh shit, I'm catching like hardcore feels and I'm supposed to be going to Thailand next year. This is not going according to plan. It is funny enough though because apparently Minjun never did get around to wrapping the tea set for her, so they did just give it to the parents in the bag. Hopefully he wrapped something else up, if y'all know what I'm saying. So anyway, before the night concluded, he did make sure to ask her what her food preferences were, if she had any allergies or anything, because his mom wants to know what to prepare for her. So now that it's Sunday, he goes to her apartment, picks her up, they head over to his family home to host her for dinner. And they pull up and his whole family is outside waiting for them. Like apparently they couldn't wait to greet her and meet her. And to her surprise, they were all like really good at English. She was kind of expecting for them to say something in Korean, and then she looks at Minjun like, what that mean? What they say? Everybody was able to communicate in English. She was very impressed. And first things first, she goes to the back seat and pulls out the tea set and she's like, this is for you. And she learned the word gift. She said, 선물, and then handed it to her. And the mom just pulled her in for a hug. She was not expecting that because she knows the whole skinship thing in Korean culture. So they all head inside and sit into the living room, and that's when she opens it and she's like, oh, a tea set, thank you so much. This is so precious. This is very nice. So they all sit down and they're starting to talk with each other. And that's when Minjun's dad says, I hope that my son's been respectful to you. I hope he's been a gentleman like we raised him to be. So then Belle started to list all these random romantic things that he's done for her for the past few months, and the mom's like, oh, that's our son, that's my boy. So yeah, not much to say about dinner other than that it was a success. Like everyone was nice to her. She really likes his family, and she said that made her fall for him even more. She said there were no ignorant questions, no sly remarks, no judgment, just welcome, enjoy the food, let's all have a good time, which the world needs more of this. So do you guys remember how earlier in the story that I mentioned she had to get a taxi to the restaurant because she lives in a really rural part of Korea? Up until this point, she has not gone to Seoul yet.
What did he say?
What you mean? She said she'd gone to like Daegu, Daejeon, Incheon, Jeju, but she hadn't gone to Busan or Gwangju or Seoul. So suddenly it's winter time and it's like the Christmas season, all the lights and stuff are out, and this is why she set the story time in for this time of the year, which is, again, Belle, thank you, girl. Out of nowhere, Minju hits her up like, hey, we should take a trip to Seoul. Let's take a vacation up to Seoul. Like, you need to see Seoul before you leave Korea. And at this point, she only had about 2 months left on her contract. And she's like, yeah, you know what? Like, that would be weird if I came to Korea and I never went to Seoul. It's the biggest city in the country. So yeah, let's go. That sounds like a lot of fun. So Minju booked them a really nice hotel in a really bougie part of Seoul. He also drove all the way up there, so she got to be a passenger princess the whole time. He has so many restaurants and landmarks and museums and palaces. There was so much that he wanted to show her, and they did not have a lot of time to see it all. So they get to the hotel and check in, and she's like, oh my god, this place is beautiful. Like, he's like, well, yeah, it's a special occasion. She's like, what's the special occasion? And he almost spoiled it. He almost gave it away, but he's like, your first time in Seoul, that's what's so goddamn special. So he asked her if there was anything in particular that she wanted to see, like a special thing that she wanted to see. And she said she wanted to go to Namsan Tower at night to see the city lights at night. So that's like her special request. Her special plan is to have dinner and enjoy the view from Namsan Tower at night. So they're gonna do that the following night. Now for this full day, it is a booked, jam-packed itinerary. First, he took her to eat, obviously. Then he went to Gyeongbokgung Palace. They put on hanboks. They went to Hanok Village. They went to some museums. They went to Han River. They went to Itaewon. He also wanted to show her Banpo Bridge, like lit up at night with the fountains and the water that comes out. The next day was going to be Dongdaemun, Hongdae, Gangnam, and some more museums. And then as the evening set in, they go back to the hotel, change, head up to Namsan Tower. So now we're going to jump right to that because this is where it gets cute. So yeah, as you can imagine, as dinner rolls around, homegirl is exhausted. It's been a busy 2 days. So they get to the hotel, shower, get cleaned up. He tells her to put on something really pretty because the dress code at the restaurant up there is like really bougie. It's not though. And they get to the base of Namsan Tower. They take the cable car up and she's looking at the view like, oh my god, this is so good. And she sees they still have like a good way to go so she can enjoy it, take it all in. They get to the top. She's excited to go see like the love locks in person because she's seen them before, like from other people's pictures and travel photos. And she's just looking at all these twinkling lights, and because it's Christmas too, there's extra fairy lights, extra twinkles everywhere. So before their reservation for dinner, they're just walking around on like the base area of the tower talking. He's like, you know, is there anything that would like change your mind and make you consider staying in Korea longer? Because I can't believe I only have 2 months left with you. She's like, honestly, and I didn't plan to meet you like this. I didn't think this would happen, but I am conflicted about leaving you because I have really strong feelings for you now. And then Belle told Minju that meeting him definitely changed things for her, changed her plan, changed what she saw for her future. He's like, really? That's good to hear. So then he says, okay, it's time for dinner and I have a really nice surprise for you. She's like, what kind of surprise? He's like, just come on and see, you know. So they walk into the restaurant and they're guided to their table by the staff. And as she gets there, like the table is covered with flowers already. And as they come out, their food comes out with them. Like she didn't even get the chance to order. He said, I hope you don't mind, but I ordered for you. So you see like the main plate and then you see like desserts and side plates. He said the view that they had of Seoul from their table was just a core memory. Like she loved it. It was so beautiful. So they eat first because the homegirl was starving. And so then he asked her, how was the food? Did you enjoy your meal? Was it okay? Do you need anything else? Are you thirsty? Do you want anything else to eat? He's like, no, I'm good. Like I'm full. This was so much. Thank you so much. Oh my god, that was amazing. So then he starts to give her this speech. He's like, when I met you at the school, I never expected to fall for you so quickly. I never expected to care for someone so deeply. And as he said, we can't help who we love, he took off like the lid of the dessert tray and there was a ring there. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So he stood up and approached her, asked her to stand up. He said, I'm gonna try to make this familiar for you because you're from the West. He got down on one knee and said, will you marry me? She said she was very surprised because she started to cry and she just said yes. It was like a reflex. And then she joked that she needs to teach him the word slow because clearly he doesn't know what it means.
Just slow it down until it's nice and easy.
So then after she's sitting there like trying to compose herself, she's like, oh my god, like this is crazy. The staff came over like, 축하합니다, congratulations. Like they're all, everybody's like, oh, it's so cute. And she said that he like moved his chair next to her and they took a selfie. Her eyes are still kind of like watery and she's like, ooh. So he took a picture. He sent it to someone and she's like, okay, I guess he's posting it. I don't know. So then he puts his phone down and a few minutes later it rings. He picks it up and it's his mom. She's like, oh my god. She said, yes, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And they want to speak to her too. And she's like, wait, you guys knew about this? And they said, well, yeah, we helped him pick out the ring and it was my husband who suggested he take you up to Seoul. We love it when it's a family affair, don't we? And then Minju's like, yeah, I hope my mom picked out a good ring. We didn't want to go too flashy. We didn't want it to be too tiny, but My mom said this would be a good size, like I hope you like it. The dad said, I can't believe you hadn't taken her to Seoul after all this time. Like, it's the best thing about this country. It's our biggest city. It's the most interesting place here. Like, you should take her there. So that's how the trip to Seoul suddenly happened. And as of the email that I got from Belle, they have been together for like 6 years, married for almost 5, still living in Korea, happy as ever. No kids yet because she said, girl, in this economy, kids where?
I said, bitch, where?
She says it's definitely something that they're talking about more and more these days. It's something that they're more open to. I feel like this was a good like holiday-ish story. Like she sent this email just in time. Christmas is literally next week. I would like to know an update about how the wedding was, because this is just like, this email, like the header was the perfect proposal in Korea. So I want to know about the perfect wedding. I want to know what happened. Like, please give us more details. Girl, don't be shy now. If you want to see more story times like this, check out the playlists that are about to pop up on the end screen. Thank you, Belle, again so much, and congratulations on your love abroad. I hope you're still teaching. I hope you're doing what you want to do. And did you ever make it to Thailand? Thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!